Spring is here, which means Auburn's spring practice is too. This is our chance to check out Auburn's returning players as well as a few early enrollees. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know by now all eyes are going to be on freshman Walker White. The Arkansas native with surfer boy hair is going to be center stage this spring, looking to move up the depth chart and give fans a peek into the future at the QB position. Realistically, though, the real battle is going to be going on between incumbent starter Peyton Thorne, Holden Geriner, and the young Hank Brown. Fan sentiment is starting to shift towards Brown, so we'll see if Holden and Peyton can keep up. Next up, wide receiver. The most heralded class in history brings a lot of hype with it, which means a lot of eyes on Cam Coleman and Bryce Cain. These two new guys will be battling the experience of Jay Fair, Cam Brown, Coy Moore, and Caleb Burke for early playing time. Auburn adds Sam Jackson V from Cal, Robert Lewis from Georgia State. Lewis's teammates have raved about his speed and quickness off the line early in camp, so we'll keep an eye on him as an experienced option if the young guys take a little time to develop and Auburn struggles early at that position. Tight end returns quite a bit with senior Luke Deal, senior Brendan Frazier, sophomore Mike O'Reilly Ducker, and the beast himself, Rivaldo Fairweather. Mike O'Reilly is the best blocker of this group, and he'll be looking to move up the depth chart since Deal had 0 catches and Ducker showed flashes of greatness. Now, magically, Auburn returns its entire running back room. Rumors swirled early this offseason about Jarquez Hunter and Damari Alston possibly hitting the portal, but both Auburn men are staying put. To make matters better, Auburn retained the services of sophomore Jeremiah Cobb and super senior Brian Batiste. Cobb and Batiste both showed great playmaking ability at times last year, which means first-year offensive coordinator Derek Nix will have a lot to work with in his first year on the Plains. Now, last but certainly not least, it's the Auburn offensive line, headlined by Dylan Wade, Xavier Miller, Jeremiah Wright, and Connor Luke. Last year, Auburn's offensive line gave up a middle-of-the-pack pressure rate in pass protection. They'll look to improve on that number as Coach Hugh Freeze looks to move what was a 61-39 run-pass ratio a little bit closer to 50-50. If Auburn is going to take a step forward next year, this group is probably going to have to take the biggest step. Will the big guys get it done? Time will tell. So who do you want to see this spring? Let me know in the comments after the video which player you'll be keeping an eye on this spring. And while you're at it, visit goldenscastiron.com for all your dumbbell and kettlebell needs. We love them for sponsoring this segment, and you should too.
That was good. I want to thank Chef Baldwin for that great meal. Again, we had the short ribs and the sides, and it was amazing. But Walker, let's jump back in here. We talked about high school and how it was for you in high school. And there were some other things I thought that were interesting that I learned. Being great sometimes involves doing some things that are a little unconventional. You took tap dance? You took tap dance?
I think this is going to come up.
Yeah.
I did.
I do my homework.
I did. I took tap dance. I don't even know how I got into this. Maybe it was because I saw Alex Collins doing Irish dancing. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, or maybe I think my dad approached me and was like, Walker, like, what if you did ballet or a tap dance for like balance and ankle stability and leg strength? And I was like, sounds like a really good idea. Like, I wouldn't have pictured myself in a room full of girls doing tap dance. And anyway, on my way home from school one day, my dad calls me and he's like, hey, you got a private tap dance lesson next Tuesday, 6 o'clock. I was like, all right, well, here we go. And so
you didn't even question it?
No, I was like, all right. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so sometimes it would be really tough because it would be summer or it'd be the second semester And so I'd be doing off-season work, and I would work out that morning and then do extra work after school. And then I'd be tired by the end of the day. Well, then I got to go do tap dance. And then like my legs are sore. And so she was trying to bring me through these drills, and I'm over here like, give me a second. Like I'm tired because it's hard. Like tap dance is hard.
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun. Like I started to really kind of like it and started practicing it on my own just so I could kind of get better and create a rhythm with the tap.
Helps you strengthen your ankles, right? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. And she, Savannah, my tap teacher, she, her husband was a football player, and they had been kind of wanting for athletes to get into tap dance.
Yeah.
And so she kind of already had a plan set out while I got there. I was her first ever football player to do it. There's no surprise there, but no, it was fun. And I every now and then I catch myself just kind of doing little tap movements because it's just like a habit of rhythmic in my feet, and so it's kind of funny.
We talk to quarterback coaches, and they say that they don't like to tinker with throwing motion because kids spend their whole lives developing their throwing motion. If you're trying to fix the quarterback's mechanics, you start with the footwork. All right, so I know they're gonna talk to you a lot about footwork here, right?
Yeah.
And getting your feet pointed in the right direction and setting your feet and doing all those things. Let's move on. I want to ask you about a conversation I was told happened between you and a former quarterback here, Bo Nix.
Indeed.
You had a conversation with Bo Nix where he gave you some advice. And I wanted to give you a chance to characterize that conversation because he gave you some very pointed advice about maybe not worrying about starting your freshman year.
Yes.
What did Bo say to you?
I got connected with Bo through one of my quarterback trainers down in QB country, David Morris, who trains Bo. So I got his number, and we had about a 40-minute call, Bo and I. And I just had certain questions I wanted to ask, whether it's about recruiting or like what my mindset should be after I commit or once I get on campus. And he gave me some really good advice. And some of the things he told me was don't stress over starting as a freshman because, and that was such valuable information because he started as a freshman.
He did.
And so what he was saying is because the football, and this is what I'm beginning to realize, the game of football is so much bigger and the game is so much faster at this level, especially in the SEC. And there's so much more that you need to learn about the game of football that sometimes it might be best to take a year as your freshman year. Learn under the guy that has experience above you. Learn the system like the back of your hand and be ready for your sophomore or junior year, whatever it is, and go out there and perform knowing you're ready because you can go in as freshman year. And I don't know if Bo early enrolled. And so I
think he did. I think he was an early enrollee.
Okay. And so not everyone early enrolls, but I definitely have some sort of advantage to have more time to understand the system. But his point was just don't hurry the process of getting on the field in college football because you could go in there not fully ready and then either and tank your draft spot later on in your life or tank some sort of position that you have on the team, and maybe the coach is like, oh, he's not good enough, but in reality you just weren't ready to start playing.
Did he intimate to you that he wishes he would have done that, like taken a year before he started?
I don't know if Bo has regrets about what happened. I think he still learned a lot. Sometimes you learn most through the trials and errors of your life. But I think if he were to go back and do it again, or if he had a son, he would advise his son, try to go and compete. Right. Try to earn the spot. If your coaches believe you're ready, you should trust them enough to know that they know that you're ready because they've been there, done that.
Yeah.
But don't make it your goal and purpose to go in there and start. Go and compete. Learn as much as you can. And I don't know if Bo regrets starting, but I know that he has some cautions towards it.
Yeah. Something like he went through that.
Yes.
And maybe saw a scenario where he could have learned from starting if he's advising you to do that.
Right.
I think that's pretty powerful. So many kids want to just play early. They want to get on the field early. And sometimes it's a marathon and not a sprint. But it may be hard to sit the bench, right? And just watch while you have that itch to get in there. Walker, you were almost an Ole Miss rebel.
Yes, sir.
For a while, your folks maybe even thought that's the direction you were going. Then you came on a recruiting trip to Auburn. And I'm going to paint the picture for you.
Okay.
You guys pull up, every single coach is out there. And your families pull up. And your family who loves Ole Miss, I think maybe you had a relationship with like Charlie Weiss and
Yes,
Dane Stevens.
Dane Stevens.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Was Lane in there somewhere?
Lane was in there. God, what's the dude's name? He played at Texas Tech. Seth Dagey. Seth Dagey. He was great to us, and John David Baker, all those guys. It was a great.
They almost had you
staff.
locked, right? And then you come on this recruiting trip to Auburn, and your family falls in love with Auburn. You obviously made the switch. Talk about that moment where you decided to say, "Hey, Lane, it's cool, but I think I'm gonna go be an Auburn Tiger."
Well, I would say I started looking elsewhere when they took the commitment from Damon Williams.
From who?
Damon Williams.
Okay, yeah.
He went to Arizona State, but I think he entered the transfer portal.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where he is now, but I knew it was between me and Damon, and they took his commitment because Damon was ready earlier.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't pan out that way. He decommitted. But by that time, after he decommitted, Ole Miss jumped back on me. And at that time, I was like, listen, like I'm here between Baylor, Clemson, Alabama, and Auburn. And once I came here on a visit, just like you said, I mean, the Auburn staff did such a good job of welcoming us and letting me see like what this place is like. And it was a little bit tough because it was also during when school is not in.
Right.
And so it was just like me, and then like the campus was empty. And so I couldn't really get a full grasp, but I knew that I loved the football part that I was shown on my visit. And I instantly knew that this was the place I wanted to be the second I stepped on Jordan-Hare Field.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was awesome. Like it was a great visit. Everything went great. Had dinner with Coach Freeze and his family. Did the pictures and all of that. All that was great, but it was like the second my foot hit the grass, I just pictured myself playing there, and I was like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what hit me. I personally believe it was the Lord directing my heart and my mind towards this place, because I knew that I would be close to the flame, and that Coach Freeze would first teach me to be a better person, also a better player. And I know that I would grow in my faith here, and everything just clicked, and it was perfect.
Oh, wow.
Ordained by the Lord.
Yeah, I was taken aback by how close you were to going to Ole Miss. But, you said that taking, Damon Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
taking his commitment and then coming back to you after, maybe it was kind of like, but you already kind of told me I was your second choice. So, did that shake maybe your faith in how committed they would be to you if you actually went there?
It did. At the same time, I understand their position because they needed a quarterback for the 24 class, and me and Damon, like we were 1 and 2. Like they either wanted me or him, and they couldn't have Damon wanting to commit and then pray and hope that I'm just gonna commit and say no to Damon and hope that it's gonna be me. They had to make a business decision and take Damon. I understood that part, but I just feel like everything in that path of my recruitment was just set out before I even started by the Lord, and because it worked out so perfectly. Because every time I would leave Ole Miss, I was like, Dad, like, can I please commit? I was asking my dad if I could commit because I was like, I want every time I leave this place, I wanted to commit. I had like 6 or 5 visits there, and it was great. You know, they were a great offensive staff. Obviously, they proved themselves to be a great offensive playing team in season. And I loved Ole Miss, and my dad was just like, just wait, like it doesn't have to be right now. And sure enough, I waited, and everything panned out just like I believe it should have. And now I'm here. Place where I love.
There is absolutely nothing like a father's wisdom. My dad's been in my life all my life, and all those times he didn't think I was listening. Those lessons, they saved me as a man. Thinking back to my father's words, telling me to be patient, to wait, save for a rainy day, you know, choose your friends wisely, all these lessons, right? Like, so it is kind of amazing to hear that your dad was a part of that process. Now, your mom loves Auburn as well, too.
Loves Auburn.
Miss Amy is a big Auburn fan, and she felt like you made the right decision. Now you're here. Let's close talking about what you hope to accomplish here, right? Auburn has not been known for producing prolific passers. You have a chance to maybe do something that hasn't been done here in a long time, and certainly not a lot. In the whole history of the program, Auburn has produced only 2 3,000-yard passers. Sounds crazy in today's college football, right? Coach Freeze, in his better years, he's pretty close to 50-50. Running and throwing the ball. You got some great running backs here. Everybody's going to be looking for you, though, to elevate that part of the passing game. You know, talk to me about your ultimate goal here at Auburn as a passer and as a quarterback.
It's always been my goal as a quarterback is to develop my passing game, because for a long time in my early career and my high school career, I was seen as a runner. Yeah. Yes, I will run the football here. And yes, we will have design runs, or I will scramble and rush. But I always saw my passing game as an insecurity of mine and my accuracy, because I was never really seen as like, okay, yeah, when we call a pass, we're going to be confident it's going to be completed. Well, my senior year, my OCs were confident because I put so much focus, and my quarterback coach, Coach Bashir's at Lit Art Christian, did such a good job of just teaching me how to be accurate. And I heard once that this was a coach saying this: you're either accurate or you're not.
Yeah. And
for a second, I believed that, and I was like, well, I guess I'll never be accurate. But then there was something in my mind was like, hold on, no, I can do what I work for, and if I do the right things, then I can become accurate if I will myself to become accurate.
That's right.
And I'm still working on it. Like, don't get me wrong, and I will work on it for the rest of my career to be more and more precise. But that has just always been a goal of mine, to be as accurate as a passer, so that when a pass is called, the coaches can have a peace that something will happen, something right will happen, and that they can be confident in my arm and not just my legs. Because at the end of the day, I am a dual threat. I can do both. Yeah. And I want to develop in both. I want to get faster. I want to get more accurate, have more touch in my throws. That's something I've been focusing on, is touch. And so, yeah, I mean, here at Auburn, I can't say, yeah, we're going to go win natties. I can't say that. What I can say is that we are going to work, and that I'm going to push this class to work. And that's the main theme and culture of this Auburn team. You hear Eugene Asante say, let's work. I've adapted that. Yeah. Like, I love that. Yeah. The idea of work. Because if you're not working, like, what are you here for? Yeah. Obviously not to win games. Right. But, you know, we're here to win games, but that starts by the work. And so, I mean, shoot, like, I want to be known as both a runner and a passer for Auburn.
Oh, wow. You know, and all the former players that we talk to, they say the great ones, they fall in love with the work, and that's how they become great. They embrace the work. Mm-hmm. You know, pain is part of the process. and as you work to become a more precise quarterback, I think that you're precisely the type of quarterback that Auburn needs. I want to thank you for joining me,
Yes,
Walker.
sir. Thank you,
And
Mike.
taking some time to talk a little bit about your journey and who you are. I hope that fans watching this get a good idea of the type of man that will be leading Auburn football in the years to come.
sir.
Also want to thank Vintage 2298 Restaurant and Butcher Shop for hosting us tonight. We had some great short ribs. We had mac and cheese. We had potatoes. We had seared green beans.
Oh, yeah.
We had a charcuterie board, biscuits, the best water in the valley. We had it all here at Vintage. So I appreciate Chef Randall for hosting us. But, you know, looking forward to having you back after your many successes here at Auburn football.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mike. War Eagle.
That's it for another great edition of Building Rapport with my guy, Walker White. If you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.